Good morning. I could easily sit down here and give you a load of spiel about how power changes people and how money changes people based on a narrative like that I'd be looking at from. But that would be a perspective from a superficial level. That what most people do is a perspective from a superficial level. You know, to think by association, you know what I mean? This is my experience, this is how it is. But if you stand back from it and actually apply a metaphysical thinking that, you know, actually apply your philosophy and understand your philosophy and embody your philosophy, you look for a reason in everything because there's reason behind everything. But for example, this man up here, I said to you, he has no ego. And I could easily say to you that given money and power, an ego quickly develops and dominance, if you like, dominance is a result of the ego. But the dominance is not a result of the ego. This man is more advanced than me. I've told you that. He's more advanced than me. And he has no ego. But basically, he showed me what would be the consequences of my choices. So while I was very smart, thinking I was yoking up the horse to pull the chariot, I was yoking up the wild horse to pull the chariot, I said to myself, this, you know, I was doing what I said others do to people, but they do this to people, and you do have to negate this. You do yoke up the people of the highest energy to pull the chariot. This is chariot racing, like as I said, life is like a chariot race. But while I thought I was yoking up nature itself to pull my chariot, nature's a very, very tricky adversary, you know what I mean? And life is chess, but nature's a very tricky adversary. Nature very quickly showed me what would be the consequence of my actions. And it sort of said, you know, would you like to rethink that move? And I'm not stupid. I have to rethink that move. So, like, he said to me before, like, you know, well, he actually said that another chap eats all the food in the fridge. And I said, well, I eat my fair share of the food in the fridge. I eat most of the food in the fridge. But see this streaming and this working and everything else. Like, I do work. I work all day, every day. Thinking's very hard. But thinking is very, very hard. Like, requires a lot of energy as well. And it needs food. It needs food. And I'm a lion. I'm fucked. Like, I'll tell you now, like, I can't say what he's thinking because, as I say, he's nature personified. But there's no fucking way I'm going to go along with my hand out. You know, if I'm left without food and say, can I have a lev to go to the shop or go for coffee? Can I have some money for food? I'm not a beggar. No fucking way I'm going to beg. I'll take. But it just so happens that when you find yourself in this situation, you have to ask yourself, maybe the best thing I could take is some responsibility and control. You know what I mean? So I've decided like that this is the lesson to be taken from this. If you understand the ambiguities of everything is choice, but there's a consequence for every choice. But at some stage, you see the video yesterday, Mr. Nobody, that was for me. Because at some point you have to start making choices and you have to start saying to yourself, well, what's conducive to the goal, what's conducive to the goal. And it's not conducive to the goal for me not to like that's shirking my responsibility, and that's not like, you know, everybody has to work. But if I'm supposed to be at the top of the meritocracy, I have to be prepared to work harder than everybody else. You know? So basically, as much as I hate to say this, as much as I have to say that what has to be done here is assert myself in a dominance hierarchy and take responsibility and control. So it sort of ties in with Peterson, but I still say there are no rules because the whole thing about free will is coming to these conclusions of your own volition, of your own free will, and then it's a choice. But if you don't let people come to their own, but then again, maybe some people are too stupid. Maybe they need rules. You see, that's the other side of it too. You know, maybe they need the 12 rules for life, but sure, that's their business. But anyway, so I've come around to the way of thinking I have to assert myself in the dominance hierarchy, and I'm going to have to, what's conducive to the goal is I have to take responsibility. So I'm going to take the phone, and I'm going to take the laptop, and I'm going to take the bookings. But then I'm going to pay myself a small wage as well. Like, so I'll pay myself a small wage as well, because then I'll be independent. I can buy my own food. I don't have to take food. I can buy my own food, and I'll make a return to the gym, which means I'll smoke less and I'll drink a little less. Well, I'll drink less. So we'll balance everything out: work, gym, and a few drinks with the if the crack is good. But the crack will be good. Because I decided that we can't really have the free for all. There has to be controls, and at some point I'll start doing a breakfast, because I did that before, the free for all for everything, and a lad came and was eating everything as much as. But when everybody eats everything, the fringe just be long going down. You know what I mean? It's not a good idea. Like, so there will be breakfast. I'll do breakfast at some point. There's no breakfast at the moment because I'm not in a position to do breakfast at the moment, but I will do breakfast in time. So, but suppose now what I need now is a volunteer, but sure. And I suppose the best thing, if I can get a volunteer, I'll give them a little wage as well, because you have to be financially free. You know what I mean? You have to be free. You have to be free to just have your own money to buy your toiletries, or to buy your food, or to buy whatever you want to buy. And then, of course, I get them food, like. So, and then, of course, like, anybody that's contributing to the content of these videos, because this is, after all, it's because of these wonderful people that I have this philosophy, and that I learned this philosophy, and that I like this is philosophy. This hostel is philosophy, and it's because of these wonderful people that I can make these videos and give you all an insight into how you come to this way of thinking, how I come to this way of thinking. And obviously they'll have to get a percentage of any revenue that's a result of these videos, if there is any revenue. But it doesn't matter. That's a preferred indifferent. It's not the reason I do the videos. I do it because of my work. So the volunteer would get a percentage of this as well, if they contribute to contribute to life in general, basically, But the volunteer, so I'll get them a small wage. They can buy their own shit, and they'll have a percentage of these videos as well, because obviously it'll be a part of this core staff in this hostel, which is now just me and Mr. Nature and the chef. The rest are gone. So me, Mr. Nature, and the chef. The universe retains what's useful, basically. The universe retains what's useful. Now, that man he's this is what I was saying to somebody this morning, that you have to, rather than point or project, you have to start looking in at yourself first, and you have to start understanding one thing. There's a rational order to the universe. Everything is with reason. Everything is with reason. And you have to stand back and unravel the ambiguities and seek to understand. And then you grow in power. And this is how you grow the will to power, but not with ignorance and brute force and coercion and everything else. But by standing back and observing and looking and seeking to understand, unraveling the ambiguities of every eventuality. What's the lesson here? What's the lesson here? What's to be learned here? And this is how you grow continually. Another thing I've learned from watching him is that touch is very important. Touch is very important. I touch nobody, and I allow nobody to touch me. I always say, don't touch me and we'll all be grand. But I've come to the conclusion that this is bullshit. Because I'm watching him, as I say, he's nature personified, and he gives everybody a high five, high five every fucking half hour, every time he's always doing this. This is touch. And this is very important, because I'm a configuration of atoms and you're a configuration of atoms, and this is, even though there's no empty space between us, this is alchemy. Do you know what I mean? This is a transfer of energy, a transfer of atoms, a transfer of, this is connection, and connection is very important. But this is connection. It's like handshakes, and that's why when they started this whole fist bump shit for COVID, was to teach you that connection is very important. But there's a number of things to be learned from this whole thing, but connection is very important. So basically, like, touch is very important. And then when you think about how much touch is involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or MMA, or wrestling. Like, how much touch is involved in that? Like, I remember one man asking me, Flau asking me to come wrestling in Sofia, like in Sofia. But that's touch, that's connection, you know what I mean? That's like, think how much touch is in wrestling. It's connection, and it's the same thing. Connection is very important. Hugs, but then again, you have to be careful who you want to connect with, who you want to bond with in this manner too. Do you know what I mean? But 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 that's something I've decided as well. That touch is very important. But maybe I won't say to everybody don't touch me, but I'll be selective in who I touch and who I don't touch. Well, or who allowed to touch me, should I say, either. Because usually if I don't like you, I'll hug you, no problem at all. If I give you a hug, I don't really like you. Because if I like you, I absolutely won't hug you, because, like... Yeah, so the big take from this morning is to start taking, the best thing you could take is some responsibility and control. And that's the best thing you can take. And for this, then, you have to start... Well, you have to come across three hierarchies. So that's the competence hierarchy, the transcendence hierarchy, and the dominance hierarchy. And that's three hierarchical systems. But you want to be finding balance between all three of them. Not doing like some people and look at they assert themselves in the dominance hierarchy when they're just not competent. And there's no transcendence either. They don't understand life. They don't understand nature. They don't understand shit. So I'm like... And that's competence, is first of all understanding. And for this, you need philosophy. You need philosophy. You need to learn from the mistakes of others. You need to understand nature. You need to understand life. You need to understand what the fuck is going on. You need to be able to stand back and look at it and laugh at it and enjoy it all. And play the most amazing theatre, you know what I mean? Like he's like, this is chess up here, but maybe we'll stop playing chess now. Maybe we'll play a different game. Maybe the chess is over. But I'm not sure what game. Yeah, maybe we'll stay playing chess. Actually, maybe we'll stay playing chess, because that's conducive to the. It keeps me on my toes. It stops me getting complacent, and I'm not letting him. We'll talk and we'll reason. That's what we'll do. We'll reason. Like he was saying something to me about eating the bacon out of the fridge. I did eat the bacon out of the fridge, but this is a jungle. It is a fucking jungle, and as I say, make your shelp a sheep and the wolves will eat you. It is a jungle, and there was absolutely no remorse from me or no back down from me, even though he was sort of hinting like, oh, when I eat the bacon, something will happen. But I'd already got the bacon there, and we both knew that. But basically, I wasn't going to make any apologies for being a lion. And won't either. I'll tell you that now, because like, it'll be as I see it, and though like, I might have to make some corrections along the way and all the rest, but he is exactly what he says he is, a watcher, but it's saying that that's the game. You move, I move, and this is, I won't be shy about imposing my will either, But the future is bright. Let's see what happens going forward, yeah? Come and stay. Bye. See ya.